everybody, and welcome to another football discussion, another live. My name is Christopher Scott, and of course, when you see me, you know that it's discussion time, and we would want to talk about what's been happening. Now, not only am I going to talk about the Premier League, the English Premier League, but I will also be talking about the Jamaica Premier League. We'll be talking about our local league, what's been happening, what has gone on over the course of the weekend. And I would love for you guys to chime in and rope in and make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, because it's going to be a good discussion today. I want to have a very special guest today. So you guys can ask your questions, come in, ask your questions, and I will be able to answer them. So, should we begin with yesterday's results? Yesterday, the first match of the day, we saw Wolves taking on Brentford at the Molineux Stadium. And Brentford actually putting a very good performance. One of our reggae boys, Ethan Pinnock, was a starter. Very good player is Ethan Pinnock for Brentford. Had a good game yesterday. And a reggae boy prospect, Ivan Toney, he scored and assisted yesterday. And Brentford actually won by 2-0. So congratulations to Brentford. They have been promoted for the first time in over 7 decades. And you would want to congratulate them. They have defeated Arsenal in one of their victories, and now they've defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have been a mainstay for about 3-4 years in the Premier League. So you guys can really appreciate what they've been doing. So that was the first match of the weekend in terms of the English Premier League. Then we go on to the other matches. Burnley hosted Arsenal. Arsenal winning back-to-back matches in a row, and they won by 1-0. Martin Odegaard with a beautiful free kick. He is first in the Prem for Arsenal. Of course, he's from Real Madrid, but they have him on loan. So he scored the only goal in that game. And Burnley started to push, but they were just not able to get that goal. They hit the bar. It was just a whirlwind of emotions and end-to-end action for Burnley. They got back into it, and that was good, but they could not put a ball on target, and so that was one of the reasons why they could not get at least a point from that one. Then we move on to Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Liverpool getting a 3-0 victory over Crystal Palace. Sadio Mane, Naby Keita, and Mohamed Salah getting the goals for Liverpool. A very good goal by Naby Keita. He actually came on for Thiago Alcantara because Thiago is injured. But he came on, and boy, oh boy, did he deliver. Very good goal in the 89th minute by Naby Keita. And Sadio Mane getting his 100th goal for Liverpool. And that is all she wrote for that one. So they won by 3-0. And momentarily, they had moved to the top of the table. Then the other game, it was Manchester City versus Southampton. That was drama. That was drama. And here's why I say it was drama. A penalty was given to Southampton after a foul by Kyle Walker. Then, when the referee went to VAR, they rescinded the penalty and rescinded Kyle Walker's red card. Southampton hit the post more than once as well, but they just could not get that win. But they do get that all-important point at the Etihad. So they drew 0-0 with the defending champions, Manchester City. Then we go on to Watford versus Norwich, two promoted teams, other promoted teams, because remember, we have Watford, Norwich, and Brentford that have been promoted in the league. And Watford really showing their class in this one. They won by 3-1. A very good game from Ismail Sarr. He has been a very, very good player for Norwich City. Not Norwich, Watford. And he scored a double yesterday. And he was absolutely flying yesterday against the Norwich. Norwich couldn't keep up. Timo Pukki did score for Norwich. Matthias Norman with the assist, but they could not stop Ismail Sarr, and he scores a double for Watford, and they won by 3-1. Norwich still without a point. They've played 5 games. They've lost 5 matches. They're still without a point. Aston Villa, guys, this game was particularly very good yesterday because Leon Bailey came on and he delivered. He came on and delivered. Very, very good from Leon Bailey. Came on in the 60th minute and he was flying. So, boy, many persons thought the goal by Lucas Digne that was ruled an own goal by Lucas Digne. Everybody thought that should have been a goal for Leon Bailey, which would have been a double for the Jamaican. But because the last touch was by Lucas Digne, they did say that is an own goal by Lucas Digne. But you can't take away the goal that Leon Bailey scored, the third one for Aston Villa. That was brilliant. A very good ball over to Leon Bailey. I believe it was I want to 100% confirm if it was Danny Ings that gave Leon Bailey that. Yes, it was a very, very good ball by Danny Ings. And Leon Bailey heads it down, was able to control nicely. That took it away from the defender and bang with the right foot. That was a very good goal. And of course, paying homage to Steffi Gregg. Of course, Steffi Gregg, the sister of Kyle Gregg, who is a motor racing champion. So again, rest in peace to Steffi Gregg. You know, her brother was associated with the world of sports. He was a race car driver. So we would want to extend our condolences to Steffi Gregg. So that was a very good game from Leon Bailey. He said it's because of the force at which he struck the ball, because he was injured as well. And he said the force at which he struck the ball kind of rattled him, and that's the reason why he was shaking up. He's not necessarily really injured, but he was shaking up. He said he just wanted to make sure he's all right, so that's why he actually asked the coach to take him out. So that was a very good performance by Leon Bailey, an awe-inspiring performance from Villa at Villa Park, and that was the end of that, and they won by 3-0. That's Everton's first loss of the season for Rafael Benitez, and he'll be picking himself up, dusting himself off, and going again. So the first match for today, Brighton versus Leicester City. I'm not sure what's going on with Leicester. They're not playing well. They are not playing to the standard that many persons know them to play, and it is concerning for the Leicester City fans. I mean, this is a team that really has been phenomenal, and they're not of course playing how they're supposed to play. So we have the guest here today, Mr. Sean Grant. You may know him from his title here, Sean's Law. Check him out on YouTube. He has been absolutely fantastic in giving us the latest in track and field, in football, in everything. So welcome to the show, Sean.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. It's been a while since we've talked face to face or even seen each other to have a conversation. But we will get actually right into the Jamaica Premier League, because you were actually at the second quarterfinals. You actually did the second quarterfinals. Orville Higgins did the first. But I want to get your take on the quarterfinals of the Red Stripe Premier League. So you did, was it Tivoli Gardens versus Veer?
Yeah, the first leg of that matchup, Tivoli Veer.
Yeah. So what did you make of that quarterfinals? It ended 0-0, and no team was able to break any deadlock. But what do you think about that game, Donovan Ducky versus Coach Philip Williams?
Coach of many may say similar because both are defensive, but both can also attacking, but both are defensive minded. But you think about the game yesterday between the two teams, Veer United and Tivoli. In the first half, it was Tivoli all along. For the first 20 minutes or so, it was Tivoli for the entire game. They got chances, they got chances, they got chances. About 3 chances or so to put away. Not hard chances, easy chances. But they did not do that. However, Veer, at the end of the first half, Veer came into their own. I don't know what Donovan Ducky told them at the halftime break, but in the second half, they stepped up their game. They stepped up their performance. They started to look a little bit more comfortable against their opponent, and they started to spread the ball, which is what they needed to do. Now, there was one player for Veer, the left back, Lewis, who looked outstanding yesterday. Tivoli could not penetrate that side. The left-hand third for Veer attacking on the right-hand side for the Tivoli team. They could not penetrate that individual. And he deservedly so, he got the man of the match. But I think, though, it's going to be interesting because I don't think Veer can come into the second leg on Wednesday in that frame of mind. They have to be attacking. They have to be attacking, and they have the players to do so. Now, they tried to play one person up front, and they tried to lob the ball over. That did not work at all, especially with 2 tall centre-backs from Tivoli, Bryce and Pennycook. Yeah, the 2 centre-backs, and they're tall, and they're aggressive, and they're strong. Bryce, not necessarily the weight that he should be at this present time. He's a little bit overweight, but he's still on his legs. I use the term a little bit, but he's still flexible on his legs. No, but because of his smarts, though, he poses a great threat to defense. Because what he does, he reads the game properly, so he can read the pass, so he doesn't have to do a lot of movement in that centre-back position. Pennycook, he can run up and down all he can because he's the most physical out of the 2 in terms of ability to move from A to B. But I think, though, Tivoli defensively, they are a very good team. Campbell plays on the left back, and you have Fleming on the right back. But what Veer should, I'm going to say this out loud. What Veer should do, they should attack on the left, because what happens a lot is that Fleming overlaps a lot. And when he overlaps a lot, nobody seems to come back. And what play yesterday, Fleming tends to go forward. Nobody comes across. Breaking Bridge sort of hold his own. I mean, Pennycook, sort of hold his own and not necessarily drift across the right. But I guess he's space marking more so than man marking. But that right-hand side can be penetrated if they can win the possession and go down that flank when Fleming is attacking.
Wow. So because what I realize is that normally with the wing backs and the wingers, they would kind of switch place. So you kind of would drift back a little bit. The wingers would kind of stay in that position when the wing backs overlap. Horatio Morgan normally plays alongside Fleming, so correct me if I'm wrong, and he would have to stay in that position until Fleming comes back, which one of the reasons why I said when I spoke to somebody the other day that if you pressure Fleming, a lot of times it's going to cause a lot of problems because he doesn't get back in time defensively.
He's don't get me wrong, and I'm agreeing with you, but he's a very good player. Don't get me wrong.
He is.
And he knows how to attack, but he loves the attacks. He doesn't necessarily dart down the flank and swing the ball over. He doesn't attack that way. He tends to carry with him. So he's going to carry someone, his own teammate. He wants to knock it and get it back. So he's carrying 2 persons with him down the flank. Now, if you are attacking your wing back, you'd want to use that individual to dart down the wing and swing the ball across. So when you're doing, the person who's playing right midfield will come across to just block that gap. However, he's taking the right midfielder with him along to knock the ball. So 2 persons are going down the flank. So if they can counter-attack, pardon me, counter-attack down that left flank, which is left vacant by Fleming and the right midfielder, then guess what? Tivoli is in a spot to bother.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So, seeing as though you spoke about what happened yesterday, what do you think each coach would have to do? I mean, you talked about Veer cannot becoming too timid, which is what happened in the first half of the game, and they came into their own. What do you think Tivoli needs to do to get over the hump and go into that semi-finals?
If they're going to start that same 11, Thompson, who's one of the right midfielders, has to step up. He has to step up. Did not play a great game yesterday, to be honest. If he's going to start on Wednesday, he has to step up. What Tivoli needs to do is actually stop using their marksman up front and putting him wide on the right, because you're putting him right on the wide for him to try to beat the left back of Veer, and he's not beating him any at all, not at all, not even one time. If not beat him, not time at all. We thought that he actually got past him. Luis just came with a tackle from behind us and put it out for a corner. So don't go down that side. That's not the side for you to go. Don't prove anything. Go down straight down the middle, or go venture on the left-hand side. But stop going on the right. I mean, yes, they got their chances. Don't get me wrong. They got about 5 corners in the first half. That's different. And they got about 3 corners in the second half. They got about 8 corners or 9 corners in total in the game. But do not go down that corner. Go direct. Go direct. Because I'm thinking, though, that London, who is playing in the defense, London and Gale were the both central defenders for Veer. London is tall, not as physical, but a little bit suspect, though. And Gale tends to overlap a lot. He tends to dribble a lot. He dribbled about 3 or 4 times in the game, and he's centre back. And he tends to drift on the right-hand side. And he tends to go forward. Go direct. Go direct. Gale is a nippy player, could be a central midfielder, although playing centre back for Veer. But go down the middle. That's the best I can say for Tivoli. For Veer, on the other hand, I told you what they need to do to attack that left-hand side, because that's the weakness. For Tivoli, I would not tell them to go direct, because those 2 central defenders have proven themselves over and over again this season, and also in the first leg, and also in the first game, because they were meeting for the second time this season. And it was a nil scoreline in the first game. So a 2-0 scoreline between these 2 teams. So what they need to do is a drift on the left and then swing the ball across. Swing the ball across. That's what they need to do. And don't swing it direct, because the 2 center defenders are going to go direct in the center back, and they're tall. Swing it back out. Take some shots. Test the goalkeeper. Test him, man. Test him. Not many shots at all that went towards goal between the 2 sticks. So they have to do that, though. And they show that they can pass the ball at the start of the second half. They show that they can be a quality team, but they're not consistent. Not at all. You saw that for about 7, 8, 9 minutes in the game in the second half, and then it disappeared again. Then became scrappy again. But they can do that. They have to be consistent in that game on Wednesday if they are to provide a goal or a victory. 1 goal will do it. 1 goal will do it for this game. 1 goal will send a team in the semi-final.
Yeah. So, talking about their overall seasonal performance, we're talking about Veer, a team that was going to be relegated had the season continued last year, along with UA, and now they're in the playoffs. Is this just a Dookie effect, Sean? Because he's done it with Humble Lion, he's done it with Waterhouse, Mount Pleasant. Is it an effect that Dookie has? What is it that he does that makes a team instantly so good?
He has proven throughout the years. Let me sort of sit down properly in front of the camera. He has proven that he is a great coach to carry them over the first 2 hurdles. Now, the first 2 hurdles be maybe going over the first round and maybe going into the semi-finals. He has proven that. Even if a team like that Veer showed last season, and now they're showing this season, because he's a defensive-minded coach, he closes the back first. He takes care of business first around the back. So they're one of the best in this year's Premier League. Not a lot of goals scored against them. So he deals with that first. Okay, let me clock shot around here. So, and then secondly, let me see if we can score a goal or two. So if you look on goal scorers for Vere, I think only one person or two persons have scored 2 goals. Other persons have scored 1. I think it's about 5 persons have scored for the entire 10 games. So they don't score a lot of goals, but what they do well is defend as a unit. And that's because you don't start defending from your defensive third. And what Donovan Ducky has come in, which he has done to a lot of teams throughout, whether from St. George's, from Portland, coming straight through, what he does is he stamps his class on them defensively. Now, that's one aspect of football. And let's be honest. Now, many persons will say if you're going back to schoolboy and going back to the top tier, he has not won any titles in that regard. He has won titles in terms of the eastern end of the island and other competitions, but not all island, whether school or whether not national, I should say. Well, I think time is ticking away. I don't know if he will do it this year. I doubt it, though. I don't think he has decided to do it. But hopefully he will do it. He has grown as a coach. And yes, his imprint on this team, because he has taken over and he has taken over the team. If you watched him in his technical era yesterday, he was making a comment, even to Lewis, he said, dribble. And at that time, he was doing that. Somebody in the sidelines or somebody on the bench was going to say something. He looked at them and said, no, don't, relax. Because it's his team. His team, not the players' team, not the coach's team. Once it's his team and once he has control, they're going to reach somewhere. How far they go, I don't think this team can reach the pinnacle, but they can see how far they can go. They're overachieving.
Yeah, they've been pretty good this season, but not to take away from Tivoli Gardens, who has a coach that knows how to reach a finals, albeit just schoolboy football. He's done it twice with St. Andrew Technical. Coach Philip Williams. The first start of the season, Sean, they weren't necessarily flying, but towards the end of the season, they stepped up big time. They had the likes of Devroy Gray striking for them, Horatio Morgan coming in, getting the first hat-trick of the Premier League season, and that young guy named Odin Pennycook, who has been a very good rock-solid defender for Tivoli. What about it? Tivoli Gardens has been pretty good, especially towards the end of the season.
Well, you touched on one particular thing. You started out your statement by mentioning the coach, Philip Williams, and you're rightly so. You mentioned that he went to the finals twice in the Manning Cup, and he lost. Nevertheless, he went to the finals with St. Andrew Technical High. And persons did not expect him to reach the finals those 2 years. They did not. But he has gained some support along the way. He has gained respect along the way because he was new to persons in terms of coaching and to some persons out there, and not necessarily new to coaching. He is a technical coach. He knows the game. And I'm not taking anything away from Ducky, because nobody's more technical than Ducky. But I'm saying Philip Williams, although he's unassuming, he's quiet and he looks relaxed and he is very, very technical. He can plan for games. And that's one of the things that he does. He plans well for games, and he can break down a team strategically and ask what he wants from his particular players or for his team against a particular team. So he can change the game. He can change the fortunes. He can change the clubhouse, their style of play. They don't play once, and he has a lot of artillery on the bench too, because you mentioned one, Tim Horatio, but he has a lot of artillery on the bench to try to change up the game, because when they made some changes yesterday, the whole complex changed. The whole team changed because he brought on some dribblers, which was good to see. So you forgot about the passing or holding or the physical ability, which was up front. However, that changed somewhat when he brought on even would I use the term elderly? If I say elderly,
Teddy.
Who?
You're talking about Teddy?
No. Yes, I'm talking about Teddy. But when he brings him on for 15 minutes or so, he's a major impact on the team in terms of off the ball movement. You'll see a lot of that coming from him. Off the ball movement, and he has the characters around him to actually read and know how he plays, because that's two different type of Tivoli teams, two different types of Tivoli players, two different type of Tivoli play. So that can actually And the coach Williams knows that. So he has a certain set of players he uses when he wants a certain system. And when he wants to change that system, he comes in with a different type of players. He doesn't ask that player to play a particular way too tough. He has other players that can play the way that he wants it. So he can choose either way. Very good coach, very good team. They started out rocky, as you pointed out, like a lot of teams though, because you have to think about who is fit. And not a lot of, if you look on even Trayvon Reed has put on some weight in a good way. In a good way.
Good way, right.
Huh?
Yeah, I said right. Yes, he has.
Yeah, because not everyone has put on the weight and the belly showing and stuff. No. Some players up front, won't call any names, they may not, they have gained some weight somewhat. Maybe used to play for Hydel, who to tell. But in any case, they've gained somewhat. But they gained some weight. But Trayvon Reed has gained some weight. But along with that has come the muscle mass. So his weight is in a good way. And that's a good thing for him. Other person's weight, not necessarily in a great way. So because of the COVID, everyone wasn't training as they should, if they were training any at all, and they gained weight. And because of the no movement and happening, they gain weight. And that happened to a lot of the players, not only in Tivoli, but you see it across the Premier League. So they're trying to take it off. Now, here's funny. If you're doing track and field or any sport at all, it's not so easy to take off weight and have energy. There's two different types of training. If you're training to take off weight and training to be fit and training to have energy throughout the game, there are three different types of training. So you have to know have a level playing field, how you do what. So you're not going to see persons just come on and take off weight just like that. No, it's good. It has to take its time to come off, because while you're doing that, you may be building some muscle mass, you may be getting some energy, you may be doing other things in terms of physicality. So you have to be careful how you do that. So persons are losing the weight, dropping the weight. You want to see them drop it a little bit quicker, but it's not happening. But for next season, probably you'll see that though. But it for Tivoli, the players are getting into their own at the right time, along with the coach.
So two other teams I wanted. Well, I'm going to discuss the six and what they've done, but I want to focus on the other two teams that played in the quarterfinal leg, and that is Harbourview and Mount Pleasant. Of course, Mount Pleasant moving on from Paul Teagat Davis to now Wally Downs, a man from England, has coached the likes of Bournemouth and those teams. He came and he is now in the playoffs for Mount Pleasant, who many persons thought would actually make the playoffs. Some people thought they would have actually topped the table this season. But based on the team that they possessed, at the time they still had the likes of Cardiff Bembo, Sule McCullough was there. They have Ladale Ritchie, Alwyn Harvey is there. So they persons thought that they were the heavy one of the favorites to actually cop it, but they are going through the playoffs and they are starting in the right way, because they got a 3-1 win against Harbourview. Talk to me about what you think of Mount Pleasant's journey in the season.
Mount Pleasant's journey, expectations were too high. Let's put that out. Expectations. It's great to have names on paper, but names on paper is one thing. You have to bring it together to form a team to say that, okay, this team is going to be great. And one of my favorite footballers from high school days is Jordan Fletcher. It's good to see him back, and it's good to see that he has lost some weight. I expected him to gain a lot of weight throughout all of last year, but because he's being boarded, so he's easy to gain weight. But he did not. He looks pretty good, pretty solid, and he off the ball running is good. Now, as a unit, what you're seeing from Mount Pleasant is that they are getting to know each other, and that's the most important thing. In terms of how they play their football, in terms of how they move into space, off the ball running. Off the ball running means that they train along, they know each other, and that's great. We can always play football, myself and you, and I move off the ball. You don't know where I'm going, left, right, or center. But because together a lot, and the training is coming out. So because you can train all you want, If you don't learn from the training, you won't see it actually on the field. And you started to see it yesterday. Now, how they started their season, it was up and down. It was meticulous, maybe because it was a new coach. It was meticulous at one point. At one point, it was all over the place. So they had a pendulum season so far because their season is not done just yet. Yes, Harborview got the better of the first round. No, they got the better of Harborview in the second round, but it's not done just yet. It's a 3-1 win. Yes, it's a 2-0 lead. So it's not done just yet. 90 minutes can play, or if can go further than that, depending on Harborview. But I think that this team, Mount Pleasant, if they get it right, they can go to the final. And I'm not saying it's a coach. I don't know. The coach could be from Timbuktu, and that's great. I've seen coaches come here for Jamaica and beyond and teams and say they coach this and coach that. I don't care. I want to see what you can do with these proper players here, because some coaches may only coach professional players. They only can coach professional players. They can't go a little below that. So he can have all the experience he wants to have. It's about what you do in this competition. That's what I'm judging you off at the present time. And I'm looking and I'm seeing some relevance, some remnants of a good coach. I'm seeing it in terms of how they played some aspects yesterday. They made Harborview, especially in the second half, look like a schoolboy team. How they moved off the ball, and that is a very good thing, especially in the heat. Now you want the ball to do a lot of the work, not the necessary players. And for the ball to do a lot of work, sometimes you have to move off the ball and put the ball into space and hope that your teammate will pick it up. So the ball is working, not you running all over the place like you're scared here. And you saw that from Mount Pleasant yesterday, and you saw that their game is getting a lot better. And you think, though, from the progression going forward, you'll think that they will even get better on Wednesday. Now, London Bernard is a good coach. And it's a good coach for Harborview, good coach for Kingston College, good coach for Woolman's Boys. That's great. However, he has a problem. If this team, Mount Pleasant, gets cracking as they did on Saturday, and the wheels start turning as it started to do, and start turning a little bit faster, he's going to be in a spot of bother. And Harborview is going to be in a spot of bother on Wednesday in that second game.
Yeah. I know Naldo knows how to use the young players. But talking about those four, we are now going to the ones who have been able to relax a little bit for a week. Relax meaning they're not playing any games. But Waterhouse, well, we're going to discuss Waterhouse last. We'll save the best for last. But well, based on the points they accumulated, they were the best after the first round.
All right, they haven't won anything.
So we'll discuss, Rudolph Speed and Cavalier and what they've been able to do. They won 2 big games towards the end of the season. They're now in second, and they have gotten a bye through to the semifinals. Discuss their season's progression.
And for persons who don't realize the format of the competition, you had 11 teams in the competition. The top 6 actually qualified for the playoffs. The top 2 in that top 6 automatically gained semifinal positions. And then the 3 to 6, they are playing off in the quarterfinals. And the 2 will come from that will face the top 2 in the semifinals. I hope everybody understands that. But in any case, back to what you asked about the Cavalier, when you mention about youth, that's a team. That's a team you have to speak about for years. Not from last year before, year before that. And Rudolph Speed, the technical director for the Cavalier unit, he believes in youth. And one reason why football is a business. You have to think of it like that. Football is a business. So if you're using the youths, which they do a lot of recruit when they are young, not necessarily high school recruiting, primary school recruiting. I'm telling you that. They recruit from primary school. So our primary level then. I don't want the primary school to say it's primary schools alone or prep schools, but primary level. They recruit from there to their program. And nothing is wrong with that. Nothing at all is wrong with that. but they emphasize on youth and playing together. Now, oh, they actually had once upon a time the what was it? MHS or MSM, I don't remember what it was.
MHM, Marsh, Hamilton, and Marshall.
MHM, what do you want to call it? I used to call them Eminem. But the thing is, they don't have that anymore. But what they do have is a core of youngsters who believe in themselves. That's the most important thing. These youngsters have belief. And once you have belief, there is a total package that comes along with it. They already put away the skill. They do have the skill. One of the things they lack maybe is the physical ability. So if you can pounce on them physically, you may break their game. But apart from that, this team has belief. And I think that's what separates them from majority of the teams that played in the Premier League. 11 teams that played in the Premier League this season. They have belief. And because of that belief, they have sent them or propelled them to the semifinals. And I think they'll keep on believing. Now, can it really put them to the top? I don't know if it can, but you're going to need more than skill and belief to reach the top. It's a synergy of a lot of things when you throw into that big pot. But they have some ingredients, and that ingredient has carried them thus far. I don't know, though. I'm a little bit skeptical, but let's see what happens with Cavalier.
All right, so the leaders after the first round, Waterhouse, they started inconsistent, but they seemed to steady the ship, Sean, and they ended on 19 points, first place in the Jamaica Premier League table after one round. Discuss their season.
Before I even start speaking about Waterhouse, I can't say Waterhouse had a well-planned season from their coaching, from their managers. They had a structure, and all teams had structure. But I think it goes back to planning for the season. And I think their plans have worked out so far. You know, they have a very good coach, and persons may know him as assistant coach at Neverville at St. George's College. But they have a very good coach. Forget about that. I know that coach from when he was carrying water for Waterhouse for the under 15 division, under 16 division. Under 15 that was years ago. This team is a very, very good team. This team has all the ingredients. We mentioned about Cavalier and ingredients, and they have some of the ingredients, but some of the ingredients can carry over the hill. Don't get me wrong. But this team have all of the ingredients, and it can carry them far. Now, when I say I want to start out with something, one of their managers, there was, I wouldn't say a rumor, but one of their former managers, Bigger Perry of Waterhouse, it was said that he passed early last week. Then I got a call to say that he was not passed. So I was just trying to get to everyone to see if he has passed or not. He's a good friend of mine, to be honest. I know he was in the hospital because he contacted me. And the reason why I mentioned that, because he is a Waterhouse stalwart, and Waterhouse has certain stalwarts around them, even when they were winning back in the day, and it's probably before you were born, or you never know when Jeffrey was coaching Waterhouse or anything like that. You know nothing of that, but that's okay. It's good to be young. But in any case, you have clubs and personal stalwarts around. Even if they can't even go to the games now, they're still stalwarts. And he's an individual for Waterhouse. And I bring that up. If I know that he was battling COVID, and I think he's still battling COVID in hospital. But Waterhouse will play for an individual like that. And they have a purpose. And when you're playing as a team with a purpose in hand, you're going to go far. You're going to go all the way. And that's the reason why I brought him up. Because he is an important element in Waterhouse success and failure throughout the years, back in the day, from the 80s. And he has still been around the club now. And if he is sick in the hospital, which I'm told that he is, which he actually told me, he messaged me and said that he had COVID and he was in the hospital. I haven't heard from him since. But, because I tried to contact him. But Waterhouse playing for something, and something that's dear and important and historical to them.
Right.
So they're playing with a purpose. And you can't beat that with a team. You cannot beat that with any team at all. So they have a purpose to play for, and they're playing for. I'm not saying that because of that they're automatically going to win. You have to play the games.
Yeah.
But they're going to play with belief, energy, skill, physicality, everything boiled into one. They're going to be hard to beat. They have a very good coach. They have very good players right now. They're tuning their game. No, to be honest, I'd rather players or teams be playing now because you want to play 10 games in the first round and that's it for this season. So you still lack games though. And one of the edge that these quarterfinalists moving into the semi-final are getting at the present time are more games. 2 more games. 2 more games for coaches to tweak. 2 more games for players to bond. 2 more games for cohesiveness to happen to the team. That's what Cavalier and Walters are lacking at the present time. Maybe they can get some practice matches to me. That's good. But not as intense as what would be happening in the semi-final. Waterhouse, forget if they placed first or last, they would be the team to beat. As I said before, they have all the ingredients. I can't call names, so like them come. They have all the ingredients. Now, at one point, I laugh. I was the fan favorite of Waterhouse because of some things that I said. I don't know. But from what I've seen this season, they are the team. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So, Sean, after the first round of games, I want to tap into your brain a little bit. After the first round of games, is it possible that you can name
No.
the best team?
Name what?
Like the best team in terms of position, right back, left back, center back, goalkeeper, forward line.
Not yet. I've seen some players. I've seen teams. Not yet. And I don't think 10 games are enough to do that, but that's what you have to play with at the present time in the first round. And then you have 2 more games for the teams that played 3rd to 6th. And then you have 2 more games again in semi-final. So, no, not as yet. Even by the end of the semi-finals, I can name your team though. But no. I won't do that.
All right. So which team, we talked about the teams that qualify for the playoffs. Which teams disappointed you the most?
None.
None?
No.
Hi, why you say that?
The reason why I say that, starting the season, it was going to be difficult for all teams. Every team was facing the same dilemma of not training, don't know what's going to be happening. Like for track and field, don't know if you must get the go ahead to train or not to train. And then you heard that, okay, we should train. Never heard that we should stop training. Never heard that we get money. Never heard of no money. So it was all up and down. It was not smooth for anybody at all. And no team had the money that they had last season. No team at all. Even Mount Pleasant. Let me say that. Even Mount Pleasant. Because everybody felt the pinch. Everybody felt the pinch. Maybe some person's pinch was a little bit heavier than some, but everybody felt the pinch. But so my expectations were not high for a lot of the teams, for any team at all. Anything that for the season I'll accept. So there was no disappointment for me because as I stated before, I knew that person were going to be overweight and all. So I knew that already. So I know the quality would not have been there as it was in previous years. And yes, I use the term quality. But so expectations for me wasn't that high. But the greatest thing about this season is playing on the AstroTurf. Because we have said in the past that the reason why the pass is there, the reason why the man them can't control because of the surface, surface is not good. No. I've never agreed with that statement. I don't care what anybody has to say. I don't agree with that statement. You know why? I'll tell you why. I saw, and because at schoolboy level, let's break it down to that. I saw better control of game management, better control of skill, better control of football back in the 80s when I used to watch football. What's the moment when I played? When I used to watch schoolboy football, because I wasn't that good. But what field was it on? Stadium East. That's where the Money Cup used to be played. Stadium East, and sometimes Stadium West. And Stadium East was a stony gut. Cavalier used to be playing on that field also in the Premier League. But Stadium East was a stony gut. You didn't have even 3 patch of grass on it. So, but personally, showed them skill on that. Now, you didn't have a lot of fields around the island that actually were great. Even the National Stadium was bumpy as well. So I don't buy that though. To be honest, I don't buy that. I just think it's a skill that a lot of the youngsters don't actually work on. That's what I think, to be honest. But putting that aside though, my expectations were not heavy. Let's just say that. But so I was not disappointed with any team at all. None at all, to be exact.
Okay, so seeing as though you said that there are no teams that disappointed you, because to be honest, I believe that, in my opinion, the 2 teams that disappointed me were Dunby Holding and Portmore United, because Portmore the defending champions, but I gave them a pass because of the transition that they had with coaches. Because as soon as the transition happened, they didn't win a match under Garnet Lawrence. So I gave them a pass for that. Dunby Holding had their future in their hand. The ball was in their court. And yes, I understand that Mount Pleasant are a very good team. And they decimated Dunby Holding. Because the first couple of minutes of that game, it was pretty even. And then Mount Pleasant just ran away with it and won by 5 goals to 2. So I put them as the most disappointing team for me, Dunby Holding, because progressing through the season, they were in that qualifying spot for the playoffs. And then at the last part, they allowed that opportunity to slip away from them and ended up not qualifying for the playoffs. So I have them as the most disappointing team for me. That's the reason why they're most disappointing. But I want to hear from you. Who do you think was the most impressive? Who do you think was the most impressive team in the league this season?
Was impressive this season?
Yeah.
I wouldn't use the term impressive, but I like Watford. Let's just say that.
Okay.
I wouldn't use the term impressive. I don't think any team has impressed me that much as yet. I think they need more games, but I say Watford. And you have more Pleasant at times, but I would say Watford.
Yeah. Okay. So, Sean, where do you see at the semifinals who will be facing who? Well, let's just ask that question. I know you're not a fortune teller, but
so if you want to go fight, let's just say because I'm trying to remember how the placings are. Let's just say this. Mount Pleasant will get by Harbourview, and anybody know I'm from the east, so Harbourview is my team. But Mount Pleasant will get by Harbourview, and in the second game, it's just a thought. I don't know. It's a thought though, but I don't like to predict a game that I'm going to commentate, because then you're going to say persons here commentate them say, "Well, I see it there, and I said you know that team have to win." So I tend not to do that. But I think it's going to go down to extra time in that Tivoli game. I think Tivoli will squeeze through, though, to be honest.
Tivoli to squeeze through. Okay. So I think by my estimation, I think the 3rd and 6th place playoff would play the 1st place. So I think that would mean that Mount Pleasant would play Waterhouse, and then the 2nd place. The 2nd playoffs, which is 4th and 5th, would play 2nd place. So that would mean Tivoli would face Cavalier. That's all like an interesting matchup. Are you excited to see that matchup? Of course, Waterhouse and Mount Pleasant, 2 former Ducky coach teams to battle it out. And then Coach Philip Williams, facing Rudolph Speed. 2 guys that have given youth a chance this season.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited though. If that happens, whichever team goes through, I'll be excited though. To be honest, although I made my predictions, which I can be incorrect, but I think those are the two teams that will go through to the semifinals. But those are great matchups. Those are great matchups, to be honest, on paper. But because sometimes you have great matchups on paper, when it comes on to the game itself, it becomes scrappy. But I think those are great matchups on paper. But I tend to use the term mouth-watering, and it seems like it's going that direction. So let's see what happens.
All right. So the last question before you go, Sean, grade the league this season.
Woo!
Not just the playing, but the formulation, getting things prepared, having a central venue, how they've handled the COVID. Because to be honest, I have not heard any positive cases among any camps, which is good. So where do you grade it? A, B, C, D, B plus, A plus, C minus. What grading would you give it?
All right, let's just say it's not perfect. Let's just put that out first. And the reason why I say it's not perfect, because you have to have the funds to make it perfect. And the funds, lots of money, especially with COVID going on. But how they have used the money that is available, I would say A plus, to be honest, from the organizers' point of view. You have to give them kudos, though, to be honest, because in this time, in this pandemic, when you didn't know if football would have played or not, because you look to the government and say, government, and then you don't know what's going to be happening, and eventually it did happen. So from an organization, an organizer's point of view, I think, though, to be honest, you have to give them an A plus. Now, it's not perfect, as I stated before, because this is the first time anyone has experienced anything like this, probably in their life. So everyone talk about the Spanish flu. So nobody was around here, the Spanish flu. So we don't even know what happened, the Spanish flu. Only can tell you what we read. But in terms of day-to-day living, day-to-day planning, day-to-day carrying out of your plan, the production aspect of it, I think you have to give them an A plus. But although giving them an A plus, it's still because of it's new to everybody. And so you have to look beyond certain things to say, okay, it's not perfect. But because of what they've done with what surrounds them, you have to say, okay, an A plus is on the cards for them, though. Because at one point, you didn't even know that if football would have played or not. And then to organize a competition and not a one-day event, a competition which I think in a sterile environment, on a sterile field, and to organize that. And I was looking on the pitch, though, yesterday, and that's the third pitch. And it has taken a beating, but it's still there. It's still there, and it still looks good. And that says a lot for the organizers who takes care of that AstroTurf. So everything in terms of sponsors, in terms of getting clubs money, which was basically new this year. The whole format was new. The only bad thing was that they didn't have radar broadcast till now. That's the only bad thing.
But they have it now. And guys,
so I'm saying I'm killing them, but that's the only bad thing. Because why I'm saying that is because a lot of individuals, well, 99% of the persons who normally go to the Premier League can't go. So you either watch it on the television, whether CBM or sports
on radio.
But there's nothing to listen to the radio. So if you're on the road, you can't be home watching it. You're driving the car, so you can't be watching the app. You probably want to listen to it, and that did not happen in the first round. So that was my big disappointment. Not to happen. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Don't ask me. I don't know. And but what I can say though, it's good to have radio on now for the playoffs and the semifinal and final.
Yeah, guys, catch Sean on KLAS Sports FM 89.
Drop. May I drop?
Catch him on that. And that, of course, there's a guy that does analysis. He has the same name as first name as me, but I don't think he's greater than me at that. But anyways, we'll leave that for discussion. Christopher Zidane Matthews, but check out Sean Grant. I also want to say you did an excellent job on the test game that we had here with Pakistan and West Indies. I honestly was pleasantly surprised because I didn't know that you knew so much terminologies for cricket because I only know you as a football analyst. I never knew or a football commentator. I never knew as a cricket commentator, but you did pretty well. And I normally don't listen to test games, but I was in tune the entire time. So guys, one of the persons that actually given me a chance was Sean, and the person that started me out in sports commentary was Sean. We used to have me in the office every single day. I'm there watching game and the commentary. And my first game was, I believe, Calabar versus Mona, Sean, for schoolboy football. So it's just always good to have you here for that. So catch him out at KLS. Also, Sean's Law on YouTube. Catch him on that as well. He does everything there. Track and field, and also you know that I have to ask you before you go because you're also a track enthusiast. Rate Elaine Thompson season and Shelley and Fraser's season.
To be honest, great for both. You can't. I don't want to take too long because I have to go eat. But in any case, Shelley Fraser started it all. You have to say that in June. Started it all with 10.63 seconds. She started. She threw down the gauntlet. For what we saw in the latter part of the season, it started from the 10.63, and I hope people don't kill me from the JOA, which I take actually, which I won't. and then it went viral. Ricardo's voice commentating in the background because I was just taping the race to see. I was like, unless it's 10.63, I was like, what? But in any case, that in itself started everything. And I think I'm a fool. I'm going to be honest. Because you mentioned two individuals. What was so special about this year? You can go back to 2008 to say that, we got gold and 2 silver. But gold, silver, bronze to the 100 meters at the Olympic Games in Japan this year. Is that we are all clowns in terms of journalists. Sharika Jackson, the week before, or the same week, I tried to remember which day, because I take that race also, when she ran 11.0. And I said, wow, she ran fast. Well, she really, speed work really going, man, ready for the 400 now. That's what I said. And that's what most persons said. We saw her run 11.0 early in the season. And it never struck my mind that, okay, this girl going to run 100 this season. But after some few persons told me, I said, go to Stadium East. Go to Stadium East. And when I went to Stadium East and peeked over, I saw her in the blocks, the starting over before the national championships. I saw her starting her first 10 meters. I said, 100 meters, she can run then. But the season itself, and if you look at Elaine's performance, third at the national championships, and then went on, and she had Achilles problem. But what I think happened for her was that she got a year to rest. She got a year to rest her Achilles. And because of that, I mean, even she had a slight injury at the start of the season, her coach, Stephen Francis, said that she was in the best shape of her life. He said that. And nobody took him on to say that she's in the best shape of her life. What that mean? After he said that, she lost at the national championship. So everybody forgot about that statement. But he was absolutely correct. She was in the best shape of her life. Her performance at the Olympic Games, her performance after the Olympic Games, her performance at the Olympic Games was astounding. That 21.5 was outstanding. You know why? 200 meters the first day, in the first round, 200 meters on one day. 200 meters on one day. First round and semi-final. And then you run 21.5 the next day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is outstanding. A person are not looking at that. That is outstanding from Elaine. And then you go to Eugene. And lower the national record again. After this season is unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. No, it's not world records, but what we've seen from these two ladies, more so Elaine, is just unthinkable. You never thought that anything like that would have happened, because everyone spoke about Flojo record or 10.49 can't be reached. I mean, even interviewed Shelley when Shelley was at 10.7 and saying that, oh no, that record hard to beat. No, she's not thinking that. That was about 4 years ago. She's not thinking that. Nobody's thinking that anymore. So this season is an eye-opener to say that, guess what? We're at the verge of great things to happen. And maybe, just maybe, next year is that year. Another world championship on the horizon. You're going to have world championship and then next world championship. Oh, my word. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, gonna be pretty interesting. I think what makes it so much of an eye opener is the consistency that these females are running. Multiple 10-6 from Shelley, multiple 10-6, and a 10-5 from Elaine. And the reason why a lot of people, and I keep on saying that Shericka Jackson was one of the most underrated sprinters this year, is because nobody expected Shericka to be running consistently under 11 seconds. Sub 11 was what many persons didn't think, because heading into this season, persons thought that Shericka Jackson was just a 400-meter runner, and that's what she was going to run. And now, out of the blue in the national championships, ran 10-7, ran 10-9. Her PB, she lowered her PB this season as well. You can say all three women, Sean, have lowered their PB multiple times this season.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you. A couple of years ago, there was a great individual who passed this year. Never mind. He's a national for the junior 800 meters. And never mind, every year normally keeps a track meet at Jamaica.
Okay.
And every year UTEC athletes come down to represent. You have athletes from all over, from the western end of the island, from central, from east, come down to this track meet, and they run on grass. I remember some years ago, maybe 4 years ago or so, and I was telling Paul Francis this, that I was covering the meet for KLS, and Shericka was representing UTEC at the time, and she ran the 100. Now, normally, your background work is if you're 400 meters, they make you sprint because 400 meters is a sprint, so they try to improve your sprint, and her favorite event is the 200 meters. So she ran the 100 meters on the grass, and Steve Francis is not necessarily a light individual. If you go to a track meet and see Steve Francis, he sits on a little stool sometimes and just relax under the tent.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I saw Steve Francis got up, because he had no electronic timing for everybody to see. It was electronic timing, but not for public to see. He got up and walked over to the timer and said, "How much you ran?" That was about 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
How much you ran? And I didn't think anything of it. So that tells me that he had this in his plans years ago. He was concerned to see how much she ran. He got up and asked how much she ran. What was her time? So that tells me, I think back on that, it tells me that he had this in his plans for years. Maybe he didn't tell her, but it was in the back of his head. That's what it showed me. And I think that she can get faster. I mean, Shericka can run 10-7, 10-6. I think so. If she can correct her first 10 meters, that first 10 meters needs to be corrected. Elaine always had top end speed. Her start has been corrected to a point. She hasn't the bullet start as Shelley has as yet, but her start has improved a lot this year. And if the start can improve even halfway from what she's displaying now, she can run a blistering time. But guess what? Why track and field is going to be interesting next year? Two things. In the boardroom and on the track. We're going to see if any petition is going to be launched next year from any other organizations, global or national, against any particular runner, or if not, you're going to see some astounding times in the 200 meters for women. And I'm not talking about Jamaican athletes as yet.
I know who you're talking about. I don't want to get into that, you know. I know.
No, let me tell you this. You start not no, but let me just say this and finish. Mboma's distribution of speed is not there just yet. And when I say distribution of speed throughout the 200 meters, when you saw her running the first time and she ran 21.9, 21.8, she was jogging the first 50 meters and then run on for 150. Now that has improved. She's learning more and more how to run the 200 meters. That's why your times are improving like that. 21.7, 21.7. That's good. 21.7 on the weekend yesterday. So that's great. So her times are improving, and she beat Shericka with a 21.7. And I think it's not there just yet. So I think that she will run faster. She's 18 years old. So I think she will run faster next year at the World Championships. But my big question, should she go back to the World Under-20 Championships, or should she compete at the World Championships and the Commonwealth Games, which is right behind each other, and then the Under-20s? That's a big question.
Yeah, that's a very big question.
She's going to be competing.
Yeah, that's a very big question. That's huge. All right, so thank you so much, Sean. It's been a pleasure having you here discussing local football, because there are many persons that message me and ask me to talk about local football. And I finally got you here to talk about local football. Guys, remember, are you gonna be on for the second leg next week, right, Sean?
This week, Wednesday.
This week, Wednesday. Okay, so guys, tune in this week, Wednesday, for the second leg. No, couldn't look at the app, but now you guys can listen to the radio while going somewhere, going home. You can listen to it. The second leg of the quarterfinals will be played. And also, it doesn't stop there, because the semifinals will be played. You're going to hear Sean voice again. So, you know, football is going to be nice. Also, check out Sean's Law on YouTube, where he has done a lot of news on every sporting aspect of this world, because trust me, there has been a lot going on in this world of sports. So guys, just check it out. Sean, it has been such an honor of having you here. It's always a great pleasure talking to you about sports, and hopefully we can discuss sooner rather than later about what is going on in the local league again, because as we blink with eye, Sean, the league is done. I know there's also talks in the works about the schoolboy football season, and I know you're excited about that. There's some talks in the works.
There's a problem with that. There's a problem with that. There's a problem with that.
Okay.
So scheduled to start in October, though, although not necessarily getting the green light from the ministry, but it was up for. But it was scheduled to start in October, but we don't know if schools are going to open in October face-to-face. And that's a problem, because AstraZeneca is out and they're waiting on a shipment, and it may take 3 weeks long. So, and it's only AstraZeneca the children can get. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully all of that is in place, because we know that, you know, we want the best possible chance.
Let me correct myself. Pfizer.
Yeah. Right. Of course, we want the children the best possible outcome in terms of playing football, because we love football. We've seen a lot of them, you know, playing now. Kasim Priestley of Harborview, Dwayne Busy Atkinson. We see Tyree McGee, Norman Campbell playing abroad. We can go all the way back to Damian Nanalo. There's so many players that have gone through the ranks that we've seen progress through the ranks of schoolboy football, and we'd want that to be back. But we have to be safe, guys. Wear the mask, social distance. If you guys can get the vaccine, you don't pay for it. You can sign up, get the vaccine, take it, and that's where we get back to being a normal society. But again, I would say, Sean, thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure. Guys, we'll talk again, because this has been over an hour, almost an hour and 10 minutes. We started at 4, and Sean jump on, and we just talk, which is a great discussion always. So, Sean, later again, we'll talk soon. And guys, thank you so much for joining in.